What's going on YouTube? This is opsec, and we're doing Puppy from HackTheBox, which is a box I really enjoy primarily because I think many people overlook pillaging DPAPI protected files within user directories, and that is a thing at the end of this box. Anyways, it starts off with a set of credentials because it's an assumed breach scenario. This credential lets us add ourselves to a group, which enables reading a file share that has a Keepass database using a relatively new encryption scheme, so we have to pull the latest Keepass to John in order to decrypt this. From here, we password spray to get access to Ant, who can take over Adam's account, and Adam can remote into the server. The trick here is Adam is also disabled, so when changing Adam's password, we also have to re-enable his account, and that lets us on. Once on the server, we find a backup that has Steph's credential, and Steph also has a domain admin account. Logging into the low privilege account, we can see she has credentials stored with DPAPI. Since we have her password, we can decrypt the DPAPI blob, which gains us access to the credential of domain admin. So with that being said, let's just jump in. As always, I'm going to start off with the nmap. So -sc for default scripts, sv enumerate versions, -vv for double verbose. This gives us things like the TTL, OA output all formats, put in the nmap directory and call it puppy, and then the IP address of 10.10.11.70. This can take some time to run, so I've already ran it. Looking at the results, we have 14 ports open. The first one's going to be DNS on port 53, and the banner tells us it's simple DNS plus. So whenever I see that, I like scrolling down, making sure, yes, it is Active Directory, and we have the domain as puppy.htb, and I'm surprised we don't have like the box name anywhere. So let's just go ahead and add this real quick. So I'm going to do a sudo v etc host, and then we can add 10.10.11.70 puppy.htb, save that, and let's see. Do we get the machine name anywhere? It doesn't look like we do. I could also be blind, but let's just see what else we have. On 111, we see an NFS server, which is definitely odd. Normally we see this on Linux, but we have it on Windows, and I don't think it actually gets us anything. At least I didn't find out what use case this had, but we'll take a look at it in just a minute. LDAP, nothing there. That looks to be it from nmap of everything useful, right? We don't have any type of web server or things like that. We have 445, Kerberos, NFS, and Active Directory. So let's go ahead and let's see. What do we want to start with? I'm going to get the hostname of the box with just netexec. So we can do netexec, SMB, 10.10.11.70. And I actually think SMB is after the IP address. Does that look right? No, I had it right the first time. So netexec, SMB, IP. And this is going to make an SMB connection, and we can see the name is DC. Version 1's disabled, null authentication is true, and signing is enabled. So let's just go ahead and add all the hosts. So I always like adding DC, then dc.puppy.htb, and then puppy.htb, right? We want to have the NetBIOS name, the fully qualified domain name, and then because this is also a domain controller, just put the DC name, or not DC, the domain name here as well. So we can save that. And then I'm going to take a look at NFS first, because that is the unique thing about this box. It is also an assumed breach box, so we start out with credentials, but I'm just going to do a show mount, and we'll do -e for show exports on 10.10.11.70, and it just hangs. We could let this finish, but I'm going to kill it real quick, and then I'm going to open up Wireshark to see exactly what it's doing, because whenever something hangs, it's normally going to be like making a network connection, right? And NFS normally talks to port 111, and then it gets where the NFS server is listening or something like that, right? So if it talked to port 111 and then the server responded with a odd host name or IP address, we may be trying to reach out to that IP address. At least that's my thought process here. So I'm going to start up Wireshark, and then we'll listen on ton 0 and see what our client does. So let's go ton 0, run this request again. And here we go. We see the port map. And then down here, we just have failure to connect. It's sending a reject message to us. And if I look at this, the destination port is 0. If I look at like the port map, this is the server talking back to us. It looks like maybe there's a failure, and it's not telling us what port to talk to, right? I think it's like 2048 is the default port of NFS or something like that. But we never really talk to that. We get a bunch of these retransmissions, not sure exactly what's going on. And then it will succeed after a couple minutes. So I'm just going to let that run. And let's go ahead and test out the assumed breach credentials, right? So I'm going to do vcreds.text just so I have them. And then we will type Levi.James or Levi. I don't know how to pronounce that name, but Levi James, and then put this password in. So I'm just going to cat this, and we can say netexec smb 10101170 user password is going to be king of, I have it on my clipboard actually. There we go. And whenever it has a special character, I like putting it in single quotes just so it doesn't attempt to like do anything with that character, right? So we have it authenticated. So what can we do here? We can like look at the file shares. So if we do -- shares, this should tell us what shares are open. Looks like, let's see. Come on. We have read access to IPC, netlog, and sysvol. So all the default ones. There is a dev share. So it's dev share for puppy devs. We don't have any access to it, but keep that in the back of our mind, right? Let's see, what else can we do? We can start a RustHound. So I'm going to do RustHound, and then we'll do domain as puppy.htb, user Levi James, password. That's off my clipboard now. So I'm just going to put it back on. Copy, paste. There we go. So that's going to create all the files we need to run Bloodhound. So I'm going to start that up. And then we can say docker compose up-d, and that's going to start Bloodhound. Look back here. When we see the export list is nothing. What the export list is, it shows all the like file shares that are available, right? And we don't have anything, so we can't mount anything over NFS. We can do show mount-a, and if this is configured correctly, what would happen is it would show us all the users that have this share mounted. So it could potentially get other IP addresses, things like that. But I think this also will return nothing. And if we go to Wireshark, it has the same behavior. Does the port map request, something fails, and then we just try connecting to port 0 a bunch, and eventually we make the request, and it does a reply. Don't know exactly what's going on. What's the destination port? 2049. So not 2048. 2049 is the destination port it's supposed to be talking to. So just going to let that run. Let's see. We have Bloodhound enumeration data. So let's go to localhost 8088, log in, and then we can upload the Bloodhound data. So let's go to administration, upload files, and then let's upload all of these, and it can take some time to run. So while that goes, let's see, what else could we do? We could do a curb roast, right? So if we go back to the netexec, I can say LDAP, I think it's -- curb roast or something. Curb roasting. So we could try this. Copy, yep. Run this, and it wants a file name, so we'll do curb.text maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Nothing is curb roastable, so we don't have anything there. Going back, it looks like our Bloodhound has ingested. So let's go over to Explorer, and then we can just go to our user, Levi James, or Levi, however you want to pronounce that. And I like going and looking at the outbound object control first instead of any of the Cypher queries, because this is normally super helpful, right? So we have Levi is a member of HR, which has generic right over this developers group. So what that's going to enable us to do is add ourselves into the developers group. And thinking back, there was a file share that was for developers. So right now my thought process is I add myself to developers, and then we can access that file share. But what I'm also going to do is look at this, and we don't have any outbound control over here. So if we add ourselves developers, we don't have any extra Active Directory permissions, at least that Bloodhound's telling us. We can look at the members, and here they are: Ant.Edwards, Adam.Silver, and Jamie Williams. So let's go ahead and add ourselves to the developers group. I'm going to use a tool called BloodyAD to do that. So we can do BloodyAD, and then the host is going to be puppy.htb, domain puppy.htb. I don't know if we have to specify both of them. U, Levi, James, P. Make sure we copy this password again. So cat creds, copy. I'm always copying it because I fat fingered this password so many times with like a capital O and of. So always easier just to copy and paste. And then we want to add ourselves to it. So I'm going to do add, then group member. And this is case sensitive. If you don't know all the syntax, you can just do like -h at any time. And it should tell you, right? Let's see. Bad successor, GenericAll. Oh, here we go. So add and then group member. And this is case sensitive. If you have like a lowercase m, it'll say it's not a command, which is annoying. Let's add ourselves to the developers group. And the user we want to add is going to be ourselves. We can add anyone, but we only have credentials to ourselves. So that's why we're going to do that. Add it to that. And now if I list the shares, let's see what we have. I'm just going to start typing my SMB client command down here. We can say Levy James at puppy HTB 10, 10, 11, 70 and dev. And we have read access. Put this password in and I click something. So that went into my clipboard. Annoying. Copy. Paste this. And then let's do a dir. And we have a Keepass database. So I'm going to do a git recovery.kdbx. We can go into projects, do a dir, and there's nothing here. Let's see, dir-h. It's like a force command. I forget exactly how to look for hidden files, but I don't think there's any here. We did do a git on recovery, so we downloaded that Keepass database. So let's exit that. And I'm going to run, is it Keepass to John? There we go. On recovery.kdbx. And file version 4000 is not currently supported. So I'm going to Google Keepass to John, and then we'll say 4000 not supported. And I think they've added it in the latest version of things. So this is going to be John there. Support Keepass. Let's see. It is here. So it looks like they have closed the issue. So John the Ripper does support it. Let's see. Keepass to John GitHub. Let's see if we can find the updated script to get a hash. This looks like probably it. See, the last time this was modified, probably going to be within 6 months ago or last month. So let's go ahead and run this. And let's do a Python 3, Keepass to John, recovery, and there we go. We have the hash. So I'm going to go over to the Kraken. So we can do SSH, Kraken, and then if I went to Hashcat, let's do v hashes puppy.keepass, I guess I'll call it. It doesn't want the file name first. We could do the -- username for it to ignore that, but let's just run this. /hashcat, the hash is opt word list rocku. And it's not going to be able to crack it. If we searched on GitHub, Hashcat doesn't support this mode yet. It's probably coming soon. So we have to use John the Ripper. And I've already updated my John, and that is in opjohn. I think run. And then we can do a /john-w for word list. I think it's like equal. It's got weird syntax. Let's see. Less Hashcat. It's going to be hashes puppy.keepass. Let's just save this. /john word list is equal to opt word list rocku.text and then the Keepass file. It does not exist. Is it just word list? There we go. So this is going to start cracking the file. And let's see, it shouldn't take too long. It's recognized as Keepass argon2 OpenCL. Let's see. There we go. The password is going to be Liverpool. So we have successfully cracked that. Let's go ahead and exit this. And then I'm going to open up Keepass. Let's just do the GUI because it's easy. And let's see. We want to open ipsec puppy recovery KDBX, and then type in the password of Liverpool, unlock, and there we go. We have successfully opened this. So we have potentially credentials for Adam.Silver. If we click on show, we see something here. So I'm going to cancel out of this, and I'm going to be lazy. I'm just going to create a passwords.txt, and we're going to copy everyone's password manually. We could do like a 1-for-1 of like copy the username and one file, copy the password, and then test each one. But I'm just going to test every password for every user to see which ones are still active. So let's go ahead and copy this, paste them all. And then we got to get a list of usernames. And we could use like netexec with the -- users, but we already have that data from our Bloodhound. So I'm just going to grab that. So we're going to look at this JSON file. And let's see what we need. We need to go in data, then it's a list, then it's a properties, and probably SAM account name. So let's see. We'll do dot, there's a data list properties SAM account name. I think that's what I said. Yes, I did. And we have this. So I'm going to do users.txt. And now we have a list of users and passwords, right? Yeah, we do. So netexec, SMB, 10, 10, 11, 70, U, users.txt, P, passwords.txt. And I always like adding the continue on success to continue when it's successful, right? And you should always, before running this, let's see if we can do it real quick. netexc, SMB, 10, 10, 11, 70, username, Levy. Is it James? I was going to dump the password policy, right? Because right now we could be locking out accounts because we tried a lot of password attempts per user. So you should always look at the password policy before doing a brute force like this, right? So we could go like this, and then I think it's like -- passpol or something. Let's see, AMSI bypass. Nope. Yep. -- passpol. So we could look at the password policy, confirm lockouts are disabled, right? That is what you should do before just blindly brute forcing. Let's see, password complexity, lockout admins, minimum reset, account threshold, none. So it doesn't lock out accounts after X attempts. So looking over this, let's see, we have a bunch of login failures, but we do have success. Ant.Edwards, and the password is Antman2025. So let's go ahead and copy this, go back over to our Bloodhound data, look at Ant.Edwards, and see what we have. So I'm going to click on him. We could just, for the sake of it, add to own. I probably should have done that for Levi, but oh well. Outbound control. I'm a member of senior developers who has GenericAll over Adam.Silver. So that's going to enable me to update the password or things like that, right? We don't have ADCS installed, so we can't do what's called the shadow credential by creating a certificate, adding it to the user, then logging in. That is the preferred way to do it, because if you do that, you're not changing the password, right? If we change the password, that's definitely opsec risky because the user's not going to be able to log in. If any like services use that password, they may go down, things like that. Changing passwords always a last resort. If this was on an engagement, I'd probably be a little more patient and update the script path object of that user. That's what is going to be executed whenever they log in. So you can just like have them execute a reverse shell, send it to you, and then you have access as them when they log in without updating their password. However, there's no automation here of them logging in periodically, so that doesn't work. So what we're going to do is update their password, and at the end of the video, once we pwned it, we'll look at the password history and reset their password to the old one. I think that's the best thing to do. But now let's go ahead and change Adam.Silver's password. And we can also see what they can do, right? Let's see, member of, inbound, nothing there. Let's see, they're a member of, let's see what groups, remote management. So we'd at least have a WinRM if we access them. So let's go ahead and start this. And I will be using BloodyAD, but before we do that, let's go ahead and add the password to our creds.txt, right? So we have Ant-Man 2025. So we can copy this, vcreds, and the username Ant.Edwards. So Ant.Edwards, Ant-Man 2025. Okay, so what we want to do is BloodyAD. So BloodyAD, there we go. Host, puppy, HTTP, domain, puppy, HTTP, username, Ant.Edwards. The password is going to be Ant-Man 2025 bang. And then we want to set the password for, who is it? Adam.Silver. So Adam.Silver. And then whatever we want the password to be. And again, not opsec safe, but we'll set this. Password changed successfully. So let's go back to netexec. And then we can try this. So let's do please subscribe bang. And then what is the username? Adam.Silver. Run this. And account disabled. We have generic right though, so we can re-enable this account. So let's see. I'm just going to do a -H with BloodyAD. And what will we want? Probably remove. It's either going to be remove or set, right? If we do remove, user access control, UAC, and then we have -F for the property, and it gives us lockout and account disable. So I'm going to do a remove UAC -F. We'll do account disable on Adam.Silver. There we go. Property flag removed from their UAC. So let's go ahead and test out this netexec command again. And let's see, it should authenticate us. There we go. So now let's just use EvilWINRM to log in. So we'll do EvilWINRM, put that as a -I, and we should get a shell as Adam.Silver. Awesome. So let's take a quick look around. If I do a dir here, let's go into the desktop. Do we have anything? User.txt, but nothing really here. If we do a cd/ to go to the root of the operating system, there is a backups directory. So let's go ahead and go into backups, do a dir, and we have a site backup. So I'm going to go ahead and download this. The other thing I find interesting is there's an inet pub directory. We haven't found a web server on this box. So I would also probably take a look in that to see what's going on. Maybe try to find out where NFS is. We have this like storage reports directory. So that's also interesting. There's just some odd things about this, but backups, normally the first thing I try to pull because you can often find credentials in backups and things like that. So it's taking a little while to download. Let's see. Can I just do EvilWINRM, get this command back, and then make another connection so we can do two things at once? That would be awesome. But watch, by the time I did this, it's not done downloading yet. Did not save any time. But let's go ahead and unzip this backup. I'm going to make a directory backup. Let's move it in. And the reason why I always do this is if you unzip files every now and then, like it unzips the current working directory and just puts a bunch of junk. And I hate that. So I always just create a directory when I unzip things and unzip it in there. This one did not do it. We have puppy. We have nms authconfig xml back. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. And let's see. We have another set of credentials, Steph Cooper and Chef Steph 2025. So if I do a netexec, let's do SMB, Steph Cooper, password of Chef Steph 2025. And we forgot the target. There we go. Let's see. 10. That's weird. I screwed something up here. I don't know what I did. NXC SMB 10.10.1170-U-P. What is going on? Ping 10.10.1170. I can ping it. Let's see. We've authenticated here. Steph Cooper password. I must have a typo that I am just completely blind, but we can log in with them. What the heck went on? So this is what I was typing. It worked. I swear that did not. Okay, it's working. I have no idea what just went on there. Maybe my VPN reconnected. But there we go. We have Steph's credentials. So let's go ahead and creds.text. We're in backup puppy. And I want to copy this. creds.text. Let's put it here. Save this. And let's see if this gets us anything. So we can go Steph. Steph has a ADM account. We could just try the same password, see if she reuses the password in her ADM, but she doesn't. I'll save you those few seconds. No outbound control, member of, remote management, so nothing too interesting there. But there is a admin account, right? So let's do an EvilWINRM -I 10101170 chef Steph Cooper. That's odd. I did not think that was on my clipboard still. We'll just copy this and paste. And them having an ADM account is part of, like, if you're really good at recon, you may go straight to DPAPI, the like protected credential storage of Windows, to see if they have saved credentials. But if not, if you're in the habit of like running WinPEAS every time you do like get a new account, that is also a good idea. And I'll show you the WinPEAS output, and then we'll go ahead and go into DPAPI. But let's go to cd/program data, and then we want to upload WinPEAS. So we'll do cp opt peas WinPEAS upload WinPEAS x64.exe. And I don't show this tool on every video because it does produce a lot of output. It's a bit of a pain to go through, but if you're new and don't know exactly where to start, WinPEAS and LinPEAS are great things to just give you ideas. It runs a lot of basic enumeration commands as a user to give you an idea of what they can do if there's anything unique about them. Let's see, that is running. I don't have another WinRM session up. No, I do. So while that goes, let's see. What's in storage reports? Scheduled? Nothing. So a bit odd there. Let's go into inetpub. Device health attestation. dir. There is a bin. And that's has server DLL. I don't know what that is. We could like MD5 hash it and then upload the MD5 hash to VirusTotal, see if it's seen it before. That may be a unique DLL we may want to reverse. While we're on this box, we can do like a netstat and see if there's like a web server running. Oh God, that's a lot of UDP. Let's do find string TCP. And the main thing I'm looking for to see if there's a what am I thinking to say? Like a firewall blocking some access in the web server, or maybe Apache or IIS is listening on localhost. But I don't think I see that. Nope, nothing there. So let's see. We're at 66%. So I'm just going to pause the video and we'll resume when this is done. Okay, WinPEAS has been uploaded. So I'm just going to execute it. And then we're going to pause again and come back when it finishes, because this will probably take 5 minutes to run. So yeah. Okay, and it has finished. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we have. So let's go down and take a look. So basic system information, environment variables, not really too concerned about that. Laps is not installed, nothing wdigest, no LSA, all this type of stuff isn't really that interesting. We have antivirus, no AV is detected. We kind of knew that because WinPEAS would get picked up by Defender anyways. Local account filtering, PowerShell. Looking at this, users can create directories at C:. So if there was a service that had a space in it that was unquoted, we could probably take advantage of that, right? A common one would be like a service running out of C: program files. Since we can create things under C:, we could do C: program and then hijack that path. But I think it would already highlight vulnerable services to that by now. So I'm not really thinking too much there. Let's go look at this. Event log stuff, no sysmon. Events, we don't have permission to run. Current token privileges, we don't have any dangerous privileges there, like SE impersonate, things like that. Dumping the local users. This is going to dump every user on the box. Home folders, of course, we have access to Steph Cooper. That's the user we are. Auto login credentials found, only got the domain name, doesn't have username, password, so nothing interesting there. Password policy, leaked handles. I don't know exactly what that's talking about, honestly. This is going to be vulnerable services, I think. Oh, interesting services, non-Microsoft ones. So this would just be unique software installed on the box, but like some of these I think is just noise because like that's default by Windows, so I don't know exactly what is going on. Modifiable, nothing there. Lots of checks. Auto run applications. Let's see what else we have. Come on. All these path injections, we don't have permission to write under HKey local machine system, so I'm not that concerned about it. I don't know exactly what this is. Let's see, schedule, device drivers, TCP ports. We looked at that manually. Firewall, DNS, internet connection, Windows credentials. So we're checking credential vault. Unable to enumerate. I bet if we were local to the box, we'd be able to. But when we do this PowerShell remote access, it doesn't save your password hash as anything. So it can't just natively access things that require your password. So that's probably why this is failing. But I bet if we logged in physically to the box, this would work. We could potentially do like run as CS, and then maybe that would work because we'd get a local authentication. DPAPI master key. So we have a master key here. And then we have credential files. So this is really the key thing. The master key and then the credential files. So I'm just going to go ahead and save this. So let's see, I'll do notes.txt, that's fine. There's going to be the master key. And then what we want to do is save the cred files. So what are the two? So we have this one, which is local credential data, and it looks like it is much larger. We see it was accessed 3/8/2025, same with the other one, but the size much larger, 11K versus 414 bytes. So let's go ahead and save both of these. And it's just going to make it easier for us to download. And I think this is the second one. Save. Yep, those are different. Okay, so we have those two files, and EvilWINRM has trouble downloading hidden files, so it's going to be a little bit of a pain for me just to download them straight. But what I'm going to do is actually copy them, and then we will download them after that, right? So this is actually a directory. So if I do, no, it's not. I don't think. Let's see, dir. Is it? Yeah. So that's the actual file, I think. So I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to call it master key. And then if I do a dir, we don't see master key here. If I try to download master key, I think it's going to fail. And that's just because it's hidden. If I do a GCI and then -force to show me hidden files, we have the file there. So I'm going to do attrib -h to unset the hidden thing. And it won't do it on system file, so we'll add the -s. And there we go. So now if I do a dir, the file is no longer hidden, which means I can just use the download command to download it. We're going to do the same thing for the two files. So I'm going to copy these two credentials. So we can just do a copy to cred1. And then we'll copy this to cred2. And whenever you do pen testing and you find these DPAPI blobs, you should download them every time. And the whole reason is once you get domain admin, you get a master key and you can decrypt everything. And you'll never know if you find other credentials that are useful. Maybe like a user had credentials to AWS, Google, whatever like cloud they're using, and then use DPAPI master key, decrypt it, find it, and now you can pivot into their cloud resources. So I'd highly recommend just getting a habit looking for DPAPI stuff and downloading and decrypting it later if you never get their password. So let's now download cred1, and then we'll download cred2 next. Okay, and we have all the files in our current working directory, and we've done DPAPI stuff in the past. So if you just search ipsec.rocks for DPAPI, you'll find various ways to do it. Before we used PyCats, because I don't think Impacket's DPAPI supported Chrome, but we're just going to use Impacket for this. So we'll do Impacket, DPAPI. We want master key. We're going to specify the file, so master key. And then we need to give it the SID. So do -SID. And what is the SID of Steph? Let's see, it's going to be this. It's going to cat notes, copy it here, put the SID in, and then after SID, we can do the password. And that was Chef Steph something, right? Cat creds, copy. So this will decrypt or decrypt the master blob and give us the key that can be used to decrypt things. So now we have the two cred blobs. So I'm just going to do another Impacket-DPAPI, and then we can specify credential, and then the file will be cred1, and then the key is this big blob. And then we can look to see if we have anything. So keyword, data, nothing, nothing. Nothing, nothing. I'm just looking for where there's data, ignoring the hex. And this looks to be pretty empty. Nothing is here. If we go to the top, we have this string under username. I don't know what this is. Maybe that's the ADM password. We could try that to see if it lets us log in. A little bit weird. Not sure what's going on there. But we do have a second file. So let's just try decrypting that before we try blindly trying that string, right? So do this. And there we go. Username Steph Cooper ADM. And then we have 5th chip on its way, 2025. So now we have the ADM account. So let's go ahead and v creds. And I guess we probably should have tested it. But I'm relatively confident that's the password. So there we go. And let's go see what this ADM account is, right? So we do ADM. Click this. Outbound 81 things. Because we're administrator. So we are domain admin. So now we can just like secrets dump and dump the whole domain. So let's go ahead and do that. Secrets dump -pi. Let's do Steph Cooper ADM. That's it. Colon. What the password is. copy, paste, and then @puppyhdb. Put this all in quotes. And, oh, shoot. Let's do this again. Secrets dump. Steph Cooper ADM. Make sure this is in a quote. @puppyhdb. Does this work? Yep, looks like it is. So this should start dumping all the credentials out, right? We could have just honestly probably used this and did WinRM, right? But we do have the administrator. The reason why I didn't think of doing that is because I think the flag is under the administrator user. And even if we just went in as an ADM, we may have to change file permissions to go into that home directory. We can try that real quick. So if we do EvilWINRM 10.10.11.70 user password is going to be this. We do a CD, just go into her desktop real quick. Nothing there. Administrator. Oh, looks like we have permission. So we can get root.txt this way. So we don't have to get the administrator user. This user has permission into administrator's desktop, right? But I did say something much earlier in the video of when we did a attack. What attack was it? I think we were Ant.Edwards, right? One of the, I guess the second attack we did, we were Ant.Edwards, and we could reset someone's password, right? We can reset the password of, who is it? Adam.Silver, right? So if we did this and Adam.Silver hadn't logged back in yet, we want to quickly change their password back to what it was, right? And with, well, that's how that errored. But with the secrets dump, if we do -H, we can get the history. I think it'll work. There's a chance it doesn't because password policy is not enabled. So I don't know exactly if it will, but let's try this. I'm going to do user status as well, pwd last set. Those are things I like doing. But when the password history is enabled on Active Directory, it prevents users from having the same password within like 30 iterations. So you can't just like have password 1, password 2, go back to password 1. It just saves a history of that. So you do the history flag, it's going to dump the history of all those passwords that it knows about. So this would enable us to set the password to the previous one, right? Because we can get the NTLM hash of all their passwords. We changed it. We go back one, get that hash, and then update their password to an NTLM hash. And that's what I want to show. So hopefully the history command lets us dump that. We'll see. Okay, so now that the command has finished, let's go ahead and scroll up. And we do see password history. It looks like the cleanup script went and changed it back. We can see just it changing the password over top of itself constantly. So this is going to be the one the user has. And then we go back one. This password is probably going to be please subscribe bang, right? So I'm going to use this hash and then we'll set it to please subscribe bang via this hash. And that's how we can test it. So let's go exit. And let's say, we'll use netexec. So we'll do nxc, smb, user 10.10.11.70, Adam.Silver, -H for hash. And we're going to validate. This is the current password. That is, and the account is disabled. So I want to undisable that too, probably. I wonder. Yeah, we'll disable. I'm trying to think. We can use the administrator to then just change the password and it should work even if it's disabled. I was thinking of just logging in with Adam.Silver and then setting the password hash that way, but let's just use the administrator account. That should be just fine. So that hash does not work, right? Yes. So I haven't done this in a long time, so I'm probably going to get it wrong, but we'll try puppy.htb/administrator at puppy.htb, or we can just do DC. And then let's see, we want to log in with hashes, right? And let's see, where is administrator? This is going to be the hash. So that should authenticate us. Let's see, what options can we have? Alt user, alt pass, alt hash. So I think those are the things we use. So we'll do alt user, Adam.Silver, alt hash, and we should be able to specify the please subscribe hash. So let's go ahead and grab this. Paste this in. That's not what I wanted. What? ALT hash. ALT, I typed that correct. Why does it want me to type the new password? Let's do new hashes. New hashes. Let's see. Alt hash. Changing password for what? I think we've done it backwards. Let's see, new hashes. Privileged user performing the change. So that should be administrator. This is bizarre. Let's do Adam.Silver at DC. This can be administrator. And the alt hash is going to be what we use to log in. There's no way this is going to work. Current password. Some password update rule has been violated. So this is not it, I don't think. I'm just going to remove a lot of complexity. We're not going to use administrator to set the hash of another user. I'm going to do what is easy to make work, and that is going to be using the same user. So let's look at how we remove UAC. So I'm just going to copy this, paste that. Probably flag removed. Awesome. And now let's go back to our change password command. And let's see. All we need is new hash. We can get rid of all that alt crap. We can say dash hashes. Let's Adam.Silver. Here's this. This is his current hash. So we can copy that. Oh, I'm doing it down here. Awesome. Switch down there. Okay. So that lets us log in, and we do new hashes. And we want to find this one, which is please subscribe. So we can copy. Paste. And this should work. Connecting. This is what we got before. Some password update rule has been violated. Password history policy may prevent. Shoot. Let's do NTLM generator. So that's saying it can't reuse the password of a previous one. It's working before because I think that's administrator doing a forced password change, but I'm guessing it just doesn't work as a user. There are some ways you can set a password where it doesn't comply to password complexity stuff. So that is not working. So it doesn't look like it wants to let us update the password this way. There's another thing we can do. Target, no pass, new hashes, alt hash, protocol. Let's do dash protocol, and we can try a few of these. Dash protocol, LDAP. We need the password of Adam.Silver. And we need new and old in plain text. So that doesn't work for us unless we knew Adam.Silver's old password. So let's try a different one. This is going to be SMB Sammer. SMB-SAMR. Password violated. Let's see. RPC Sammer. Let's try this. And if all this fails, we'll probably upload mimikatz to the box and do it that way. Requires new password in plain text. That's annoying. Let's see. Where is protocols? Keepass WD. I'm guessing this is also going to require it in plain text, right? Yes. So all these require plain text. That is really annoying. And not something I have memorized. After I said really annoying, I did a ninja edit, and I went over to ipsec.rocks and typed mimikatz NTLM, and then watched this portion of the video because I've done it in the past talking about this exact thing. So let's go ahead and just do what I showed in that video. Mimikatz is probably on this, right? It's probably like user share mimikatz. Find/user. We can just download mimikatz. Mimikatz, GitHub. And thankfully, it is, Defender is not on the box. So this should just upload fine. Let's go ahead, go to mimikatz. Hopefully they still have releases. They do. Let's download this. We can just copy link. Then wget mimikatz 7zx to extract. And then let's go. And I didn't create the directory, and you can see mimikatz put stuff in my current working directory. The one time I don't create a directory to extract, right? But there we go. We have mimikatz there. So let's go ahead and get the administrator's NTLM hash so we can log in as them. So let's see, where is administrator? Here we go. And then I'm going to do EvilWINRM. 10.10.11.70. User is administrator. I think capital H for hash. Hopefully this lets me in. Let's see. It should. Let's copy. Maybe it didn't. Let's see. EvilWINRM. Dash capital H. Authorization error. Administrator. That is right. Invalid hash format. Maybe we'll just have to PS exec. Let's see. PS exec.py. Administrator at this. Dash hashes. Okay, that is not the hash. Let's see. We can just use the ADM account, I guess. Yeah, let's just use Steph Cooper. So cat creds.text EvilWINRM 10.10.11.70 Steph Cooper ADM password. Let's just copy that. Put it in quotes. Upload mimikatz.exe. Awesome. Adam.Silver. And we're going to want to set Adam.Silver's password to be this. So nxe smb-u or 10.10.11.70 Adam.Silver password of please subscribe. It's going to be not failed because we have the wrong password there. But now that we have mimikatz, we can do a mimikatz.exe LSA dump set NTLM. I think it's /user Adam.Silver NTLM like that, and then exit. There we go. So we have ran that. We set the NTLM to that. And now when I run this again, we're going to get account disabled, right? There we go. So you're successfully logged in and the account's disabled. So we were able to set the password to an NTLM hash using mimikatz. I'm sure there are other tools to do it. I just don't know off the top of my head, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this little tidbit. Take care all, and I will see you all next time.